My name is Akhil and today I am here in front of you for giving you the lecture on the topic Adobe Flash. First of all, I would like to give you the introduction of Flash software, then the history of Flash software, then basic steps that are required for making animation, and in the last, the principles that are required for making animation effective. First of all, the introduction of Flash software. Adobe Flash, also known as Shockwave Flash, was introduced in 1996 by Adobe System Macromedia FutureWave. It is a multimedia software platform which can be used in making animations, making desktop application, making mobile applications and mobile games. It also helps in streaming of audios and videos. It can also take the input from the text, raster graphics and vector graphics for making animations, and it can also take the input from the devices like mouse, keyboards and audio recording devices. Now I would like to tell you there are basically four basic target platforms of this software. Those target platforms are: first, iOS; second, Mac operating system; third, Windows; fourth, Android. So these are the four basic target platforms of this software. Now there are some editor software too that is included in this software. Those editor softwares are Adobe Animate, Flash Builder, Flash Develop and Flash Catalyst. Now I would like to give you the history of Flash software. In 2000, Flash software was installed on most of the computer systems for making online video games and online video content. In 2005, former employees of PayPal came up with YouTube and they just use this Flash player for making their own compressed video text format. Between 2000 to 2010, there are so many business formats who use this software for making their own products and creating their own web portal. Some of those companies include Nike, HP, Disney, Cartoon Network and HBO and Nokia also. In 2007, Flash came up with their ninth version of Flash, which is known as CS3. And in 2008, they just updated it to 10th version of Flash, which is known as CS4. Year by year, they just kept on updating themselves from CS 5.5 to CS6 to CC, that we also known as cloud computing. So this is the basics, brief history of Flash software. Now, I would like to tell you what are the basic steps that we need to follow for making animations. There are basically 6 steps that we need to follow. Those 6 steps are: first, create the drawing; second, divide them into layers; third, convert them into symbols; fourth, set the pivot point; fifth, extend the keyframes; and sixth, start animating. So these are the basic steps that you need to follow for making your animation. Now I will explain each step one by one. First step is create the drawing. What does it mean is you have to create your character. There is a character. You have to trace the complete character from head to toe. You have to draw the complete character. Next, divide them into layers. All those different parts of the body like head, neck, body, arms, hands, legs and toes, all these parts will be divided into different layers. That is called divide them into layers. Convert them into symbols. All those parts which are being divided into different layers will be converted into different symbols. Make sure all the names of those symbols should be different. They can be graphic and movie clip as per their demand. Fourth, set the pivot point. First of all, we should know what is the pivot point. Pivot point is the point from where the part of the body moves. Suppose this is my hand. My hand is moving like this. See here, there should be the pivot point because it is moving from here. Suppose I want to move my hand only. So there should be the quiet point because it is moving from this point. See here, look at the leg. I am moving my leg like this. So here should be the pivot point because it is moving from here. If I want to move my foot only, there should be the pivot point because it is moving from here. The joint basically. That is basically set the pivot point. Extend the keyframes. Means you have to extend the keyframe for as long as you want. Basically, it depends up to you till how long you want the animation. So just extend that much keyframe that you need for animating your character. And in the last, start animating. That means your character is ready for animation. Just start animating. Now I would like to tell you about the 12 basic principles that are required for doing all these 6 steps, for making all these 6 steps effective. Several renowned authors has tried well for come out with those principles, and those principles are 12 basic principles. Now I will tell you what are those 12 basic principles. 12 principles of animation. There are basically 12 principles of animation. I will tell you one by one what are those principles. First, stretch and squash. Second, anticipation. Third, staging. Fourth, straight ahead and pose to pose animation. Then fifth, follow through and overlapping. Sixth, ease in, ease out. Seventh, arc. Eighth, secondary action. Ninth, exaggeration. 10th, solid drawing. 11th, timing. And 12th, appeal. These are the basic principles of animation. Now I will explain each and every principle one by one with examples so that you could have a clear idea about what that principle is and how you can use them in your animation. First principle is stretch and squash. This is the most important principle of all 12 principles of animation. This principle gives the illusion of basically volume to weight. What happens in this principle is, let's take an example of a rubber ball. How a rubber ball will react if we throw it into air? It will come down, it will be punching the ground, then again it will come up. So how it reacts? See here, this is the ball, this is the ground. It will start getting stretched when it is going to reach the ground. At this point it will squash, and again it will start stretching, and slowly it will start getting its real form, that is this form. This is basically the principle of stretch and squash. The real idea behind this principle is that the volume of the ball will remain constant at all points. Here it is the normal form, here it is started stretching. If it is getting started stretching, it will get thinner. If it is getting squashed, it will get wider. So the volume of the ball will remain constant at all points. That is the basic idea of stretch and squash. Now we move on to the next principle. The next principle is anticipation. Anticipation is basically means let the audience know what is going to happen. In this principle, suppose a man wants to throw a ball. Is it possible to throw a ball without putting up his hand behind? It is possible in animation, but it will look very unnatural, very unreal. Suppose a golfer wants to hit the ball. Is it possible to hit the ball without putting up his hand behind? No, it is not possible. It is possible in animation, but it will look very unreal. So what he has to do is he has to put up his hand back. Then only he can hit the ball. If he has to throw a ball, he has to put up his hand back. Then only he can throw the ball. That is called anticipation. Let the audience know what is going to happen. If he wants to throw the ball, he will definitely put up his hand behind. Then only he will be able to throw the ball. That is called anticipation. Third principle. Staging. Staging is all about setting up your camera, setting up your characters, setting up your background, foreground, everything which is required for that animation. Suppose there are two characters, both are important for that scene. The camera focus should be only on those characters because that will grab the attention of audience. That is what about staging. Keeping all those things, keeping the focus on all those things which are necessary, and keeping all those things which are not necessary out of the focus. We have to keep on focus on relevant things, and all those irrelevant things will be out of the focus. If the two persons speaking, they should not be overlapping each other. They should be standing in front of each other, so the audience could listen both of them exactly. So they could have a clear idea that this all animation is all about these two characters. That is called staging. Everything relevant should be in focus. Everything irrelevant out of focus. Now we come up to fourth point. Straight ahead and pose to pose. Straight ahead is basically frame by frame animation, which is very fluid, very spontaneous. And pose to pose animation is few frames in the start, few frames at the end, few frames in the middle. When the animation is being done, we will put up few frames in the middle in case it is required. Let's take an example of a straight ahead action. Suppose there is a guy who wants to jump from this point to other point. What he will do? He will bend little bit down, then he will be in a completely crouched position, then he will jump into air, he will be reaching to other point, he will again get his knees down, and he will again stand up. This is what basically straight ahead. Frame by frame animation, all the frames he has to follow. In pose to pose animation, what he has to do is there he has to follow only 4 steps. What are those 4 steps? Standing position, crouched position, flying position, and again reaching the next position. That is basically pose to pose. It will take only 4 steps for completing this, but straight ahead will take all the frames for completing this action. That is called straight ahead and pose to pose animation. Now we come to the next. Ease in, ease out. Let's explain this example. Let's explain this principle with the help of an example. Let's take the example of a car. Suppose there is a car. It accelerates, it deaccelerates. Suppose a car is accelerating from 0 to 100 speed. Is it possible that a car can take the speed from 0 to 100 in a blink of an eye? It is possible in animation, but it will look very unreal, very unnatural. It will look very robotic, which is not required in animation. That is called ease in. A car slowly accelerates from 0 to 100, and a car slowly deaccelerates from 100 to 0. That is basically the principle of ease in, ease out. Slowly the car will take the speed of 0 to 100, and slowly the car will take the speed down to 100 to 0. It will deaccelerate. That is basically the principle of ease in and ease out. Let's take another principle of animation, that is called sixth principle, R. This principle follows the laws of motion, basically laws of physics. Basically, most of the things in real world follow the principle of arc. Basically, with the exception of some mechanical objects, most of the things follow the principle of arc. Look at me. Look at the way I am walking. See here. My hand is also making a trajectory of an arc. See here. Look at the pendulum. Pendulum also moves in this position. It is also taking the movement of an arc. Look at the boy. If I throw a ball upward, it will also take the trajectory of an arc. This is basically this principle is. Most of the things take the principle of an arc. That is called arc. Now we come to the next principle. Secondary action. Secondary action is basically used to emphasize the main action. What is secondary action? Suppose I am very angry. What sort of walk I will be having if I am angry and I am walking towards the other guy? I will be having a very forceful and a very aggressive walk. I will be leaning forward in aggressive. I will be moving towards him. My walk will be just like a stomping walk because I am very aggressive. So what is the secondary action? Secondary action is my arms. If I am walking very aggressively, my arms can't move in a normal way. It will also be moving in a very aggressive manner. That is called secondary action. My whole body is forcing my arms to move in a very aggressive way. That is called secondary action. Now we come to the next principle. 8. Exaggeration. Exaggeration is basically pushing the movements further to add some more appeal to the character or to the animation. Let's take an example. Suppose I want to throw a ball. I will be putting up my hand a little behind, I will be throwing the ball. What would be the exaggeration? Exaggeration is basically I will be putting up my hand a little bit more behind, then I will be throwing the ball. Then it will give the feeling and give more appeal to it. Basically the idea of this principle is if you want to add some more cartoonic effect to your animation, then you will use this principle. If you want to suppose jump, if you want to jump, then you will have to put up your hand, you will be putting your knees little more down for realizing this principle. That is called exaggeration. You have to push the movements little bit further for adding some appeal. Now we come up to the next principle. Next principle is follow through and overlapping action. This is the ninth principle of animation. Follow through is basically separate parts of the body start moving in that different direction when it is moving. Let's take an example. Suppose my body is moving. If my body is moving, suppose I stop here. If I stop my different parts of the body, like my hands, it will also stop, but it will stop little bit later, few frames later. My legs, it will also stop little bit later, maybe few frames extra it will take. That is called follow through. All the parts will catch up, but little bit later. Now overlapping. Different parts of body move at different times. Basically, let's take an example. Suppose I want to put up my hands up to wave. What I will have to do? First of all, my elbow, shoulder will move, then my elbow, then my arm, then my hand. Slowly, every part will be catching the same movement, but one after the other. That is called overlapping action. Now we come to the next principle. Next principle is timing. Timing is basically how much time animation takes from one place to another. Suppose you want an object to move from this place to this place. How much time does it take? 24 frames or 30 frames or 40 frames, whatever the amount of time our animation is taken from putting up this box from here to here. That is called the timing. Basically when you are increasing the timing, it will get slow. When you are decreasing the timing, it will get fast. So what you have to keep the audience in mind, that the audience is having a watch over it. So you have to keep everything in focus, that if timing should be perfect, then only it will amuse the audience. So you have to keep timing intact. 11th principle is solid drawing. Solid drawing is more of a composition of a volume to it. You should have a good hand in artwork. Then only you can realize this principle, solid drawing. The proportion of the body, the volume and the weight of the body should remain constant. You should keep all these things in mind if you are doing this principle. Suppose you are drawing a character in 2D, you should give a feel of a 3D. That is basically solid drawing. This should be like that. Now we come to the last principle of animation. The 12th principle of animation is appeal. A character should have a charisma. Every actor has a charisma. The character that you are making should have an appeal. Let's take an example. You are taking, suppose there is a villain. So that villain should give a feel of a villain. All those audience should come to know that, yeah, this was the character who can give the feeling of a villain, who was giving the villain feeling. Now suppose appeal doesn't always mean that the character should be very cute, very cuddly. It should not be like that. Appeal means it should grab the audience mind that character was perfect for that animation. That is called appeal. If he is hero, he should be completely heroic. If he is villain, it should be completely in a villainous role. It should be having appeal over that. So these are the basic 12 principles of animation. If you have the knowledge of all those principles, then you can make your animation very perfect. So these were the basic principles, and this was the presentation from my side. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.